All right, so we're going to start our eye practice, and you're going to get a little square that is just the iris of your eye. The iris of the eye is where your eye color is. So you have to decide do you want to do your natural eye color? Do you have brown eyes? Do you have blue eyes? Do you have green eyes? Do you have gray eyes? Or do you have somewhere in between, like a hazel? There are different varieties of eye color. Like I'm using black on its side to make it gray, but usually gray is not like a straight gray. It has a variety of shades in it. Gray is usually a hazel derivative. So it kind of depends. So depending on what you're doing, everyone's pupil is black. So we're going in with colored pencil. We're going to color in the black pupil. And you're going to keep this and glue it onto a sheet that's going to go in your Art Techniques Tips and Tricks section, along with your eye practice. It looks like that. We'll get to that in a second. So I've got my pupil colored in. Okay, so it should be as dark black as you can physically get. Some people have a ring around the eye, so the outline of the iris in a dark shade or black. So you can kind of add in. It's also really helpful for like at the end, like if you've got a little like fuzzy edge on things, you can really get that dark ring around the iris. If you want, not everyone has it. It is, if you are doing Punnett squares in biology, so your eye color is a function of genetics, and the dark ring around the outside of the eye is a dominant genetic trait, whereas having no ring around the eye is a recessive trait. So if I go in with, let's do brown. I'm just going to go in because it's medium and then light. So I'm going to do kind of a medium up here all over. And then I'm going to kind of get lighter down here. And it says blend with white down here. So follow the directions when you get to that point. It also says contrast color and main color. Leave this white dot because usually that makes it look a little more alive. So I've got a fairly light shade all over. Now I'm gonna kind of get this in medium, which is gonna go into that main color medium. I'm gonna leave that part light. This says contrast color. And this says dark shade. So I'm gonna press hard right here because that is the area that will be close to your eyelid. And that usually gives you a shadow there. So this says blend with white. I'm going to blend with white. It's not going to do a ton, but it's going to get it a little bit. Maybe I'll add a little like zigzaggy looking stuff there. Contrast color for brown. Usually somewhere in there, or black if you have super dark eyes. My husband has sort of a caramel color eye, so I'm going to go in with orange, and then I'm going to lighten it up here. I'm going to put a little bit in here, super light. I'm going to put a little over here, just because we don't want like to lose out on that detail. Also, a lot of people will have a contrasting shade kind of around the pupil as well. A lot of hazel eyes have a contrasting color just around the pupil, like rays of the sun. So like if you have green in your eyes, you might have a little. This doesn't have to be for every eye. So I mentioned that the ring around the outside is a dominant trait, and that no ring around the outside is a recessive trait. My mom had no ring around her iris. She had just gray eyes. And then my dad had hazel, green, and brown eyes. So I have, with a dark ring, I should say. So I have a dark ring. And I have, whereas my mom was mostly gray with just white or silver around her pupil, I have a yellow, hazel in my gray eyes. So it kind of depends on what is going on. So that is my colored in brown eye color. You see like a variation there. You could still go back in if you want to get a little like texture and go around the edge. You can look at your eye in a mirror and you can kind of go in and get the exact shade. Some people have heterochromia, which means you have two different colored eyes. So the next thing that we're going to do after you've got that part and you've practiced, this is going to be our eye practice. I'm going to separate the eyelids from the eyes themselves. Your eyes in proportion, we are talking about proportion right now. Your eyes in proportion are one eye width apart. So each of these circles here, this is the white of your eye, this is the iris, and this is the pupil. So all of these are going to have like a little white dot, and you're going to color black inside the pupil. All of them, that is your first job. Black inside the pupil with a little white dot. Make your dot, color around it. Now, and it won't always be a perfect circle. Usually is if you're outside and the sun is shining, just because the highlight will tend to be more circular because your light source is circular. If you're inside and like maybe a like rectangular light is reflecting in your eyes, then your light reflection might be kind of a weird curved square. As long as there's a white spot, it will still make it look like your eyes are alive. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. So it just depends on what you want to do, but pupils first. This, I'm going to separate the brown layer. We're going to fold it twice, and we're going to cut out the white section for the eyelid. So to do that, I'm actually going to just cut on that side. I'm hoping I've got this centered in the camera. Also, I really hope this is recording. It is. Okay, we're good. All right, so now it says, cut out white, fold twice and cut. That is fold. And then you're going to fold this. It's a little origami-esque here. Fold this. Okay, so it's not perfectly folding twice and cut. Probably should like. So you're just cutting out that little white section. It's okay if you cut over into the paper. It's not going to be a big deal. Because you're going to glue it down. Also, not all eyes have like this kind of shape, but we are just getting, so what I'm trying to get across to you is when I open this up, this is going to be your eyelids. And they are fairly symmetrical. Is that perfect? No, but can I get it there? Yes. It's going to lay over the top like this, okay? So not everybody's eye shape is the same. These are all the same, but when we talk a little more intensely about it, you'll get the idea. So you see how when I lay this over, you see where the eyelid is on those eyes. So eventually we'll like make a little flappity flap so you can see it. So you're going to be coloring in your irises, matching up. So if I do green, this is a yellow green. Okay, do my light shading. Light shading. I probably should be doing more of a like rays of the sun kind of vibe. Just because if you just go in like in one direction, you won't get the like true shape. And you see that pulls that color out. Since I used a yellow green there for that dark shade, I'm gonna go in with this darker green at the top and then blend it for that medium tone and the main color where it says main color. Same thing over here, dark shade, medium, medium, main color. Lightest shade stays down here. Blend with white down at the very bottom. I'm not gonna put a ring on this one. My contrast color, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of brown. So a little bit of brown down. Contrast color, lighter shade, and kind of just come around. That way, when I put this over the top, get that out of the way. You see it? Okay. Eventually, we would also add, okay, if I go in like this, there would also be a shadow, like right there. Your edges of your the white of your eye are not perfectly white. And then I would add a little bit of pink for the water line down here. You can kind of see. So like if I go in like that, maybe blend that brown a little bit with some white, except it doesn't want to blend, and that's okay. This is practice. I usually like to have it a little bit better. I'm gonna go in with a black shadow right there because your eyelid would give you a shadow, and you can see like how much more that like gets that realisticness in. And then you'd have a crease of your eye right here. You'd have your eyelashes right here. You'd have an eyebrow up here. Eyebrow. So eyelashes on this line, boobity, 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 crease, and eyebrows. Okay, so you're going to add your color. You're going to cut out your shape. You're going to add color, and then you can play around with the shading where those eyelids are going to be. And you can see where it falls on the circle, because you've got circle of the pupil, circle of the iris, and then circle of the actual eyeball that you put your eyelids over. Okay? So you're going to do 3 sets of those. This will go in, and then we'll put it on a page to go into our journal in the art techniques and tricks section.